Inside of the prison, Kavath could only tremble. The prison might be beautiful, but he felt the crashing waves of magic, strange and alien to him. He felt the way that everything just felt wrong. The gasps and panicked noises coming from the ritual room so close to his, even through the thick walls, he could hear it all. Sometimes it sounded like there was a scream. And yet, eventually everybody left that ritual room dazed, confused. The only one who was not confused, the only one who seemed to have the results that they expected, was Bowman. She looked drastically different. She looked like a twisted one. Camisa pulled her aside and demanded an explanation. This was no request. This was a demand. Explain now. Bowman had expected this all this time. Back when she had been a raider, they had captured a young mage. They had gagged the youth. And were planning on sacrificing them. And she, in a rare fit of morality back then, had released the youth and, well, wished them the best. Since then, she had been in communication with them, trying her best to come up with a possible solution. But unfortunately, this was the closest that they could do. It wasn't the same as what they suspected happened to the Twisted Ones, but it was based upon the same basic principles they thought. She handed over her research. It would require quite a bit of decoding, but they were determined to do so. Kamisa told her flat out, never do anything like that again. Everyone agreed. That was too dangerous to do unprepared. They needed to communicate for things like this. Bowman was apologetic, but also knew that they would not let her if they had known. It's something that they sadly could not argue with. But this gave them the first idea in generations as to what had happened to the Twisted. Many people dealt with the shock of what had happened with honest work. Bowman returned to her duties the same as ever, perhaps with a bounce in her step. Ithel traded for more cloth. Makar requested that he be the next to undergo this, and the others said that they would think about it. It would take time, anyway. They would need 20 days before they could hope to perform that ritual again. Kat was also considering performing the ritual. She had become closer to the Twisted Ones than her own people. She understood why Bowman had done this, even if she disagreed. They were still so painfully low on magicite. But they were making progress and improving their medical supplies. Ithel was concerned, and in the morning, he approached Bowman. He asked her about the packages that she had sent. She was quick to explain that they were information that Kamisa had given freely about her own research into the condition of the Twisted Ones, as well as payment. While her relationship with the young mage, which was, she was quick to point out, non-romantic, was born of a darker time. She wished to uphold the themes of her new hosts. However, she also strongly urged that they choose a new name. The Twisted Ones brought with it a certain stigma, just from the name alone. And while she understood why they chose that name, it was time for them to see about moving beyond that and forging a brighter life for themselves. Ithel couldn't argue. It was a good point, and he would bring it up with the others. He did, however, point out that he had other pressing concerns to deal with. That perked Bowman's attention. While the wall that they had built to protect themselves and his old archery murder hole were serving them well enough, he wanted a second layer of defense. This she could understand. She promised to help him however she could. They had changed a great deal of their medicine into medicine-infused bandages, and from there had purified it even further. This would help greatly. When it came time. Cat once again used her access to the strange magics of the Twisted Ones in order to better grow. Another airship passed along overhead. Another combat supplier. He traded away everything that they could. Leaving them poor. But buying a strange forge... It took a few days for the shock to fully wear off, but Camisa ran some tests on Bowman, trying to determine just exactly the changes made. She had a good idea as to the baseline, as to how the woman had been before the ritual. And Camisa had performed the ritual. She knew firsthand everything involved with it. So hopefully that would give her even more insight. Bowman released the prisoner. He had been here long enough. He was fully healed. There was no need for him to continue to be here. He knew not what had happened. And quite honestly, despite their stunned explanations to him, he seemed uninterested. Which was fine. Which was fine. Unfortunate, but fine. A request came by bird. Tribesmen harassing caravans. Well, the Twisted agreed that this was a noble cause. As always, they worried. especially since they did not have enough granite to perform the defenses that they wanted to so desperately create. For the time being, they stopped making the lavish meals. They would help these people, but first they needed to make sure that they would be adequately protected. However, this was cut short by maddened animals assaulting. Hyenas. So many hyenas. It was too many even for the rangers. While the hyenas could not make their way inside, they hoped, they called to arms all the archers. Once again, from the safety of inside, even though others were beginning to step out. The archers went ahead and eliminated all of the fallen, but not yet dead. Hyenas. Okay, I'm back. To help deal with how many corpses there were, and hopefully to help prevent lung rot, many minions were summoned. However, this left them once again in their ages-old issue of there being far too many corpses for them to be able to process, to store. They would have to process the corpses. Ithel felt more than a little guilt over having to kill all of the hyenas. A mate for his own hyena would have been nice. Trunka got to work processing a good 10, but it might take more than that. Hare was getting older. While a very crafty individual, so far, they weren't sure if it would last. However, they were developing into quite the archer, understanding the basics of it quite well. Shalia once again found herself in labor. With Ithel and Trunka both attending to Shelia, it was at Davenport who took it upon himself to take the horses out. They had far too much. And needed to divest down in order to make room. They did not want anything to go to waste. Shelia entered the final stages of labor. A new child was born to the settlement. Davenport knew that he would be traveling overnight. He also knew that he was not the best person suited for this role. But sometimes, in the event of an emergency, what you do is not always the wisest thing, but the necessary thing. And he considered it better to have a ranger performing this run than not. It was somewhat ironic. Whereas before, they had needed to divest down of fungal growth. Now it was purely meat. But already they were making good progress. As was Davenport. Davenport was not the best of those to barter. But he did his best. But he also remembered the complaints about being low on magicite. Well, he didn't understand that very well. He understood that there were things that they could make use of. And not knowing what they were doing back at home, he went ahead and invested in 10 carnivore lavish meals, thinking that it would be a pick-me-up for a few people. And he didn't mind purchasing them because, well, would be back before nightfall. Sir had been growing up well, and had now reached adulthood. Though an excellent shot, he also proved himself to be a competent cook, a good crafter, a great speaker, and a rather clean man, combined with his optimism and his quick learning. Everyone was sure that he would go far. Davenport returned late, well after dark. And while he had desperately wanted to unload the animals, he was far too exhausted for that. But there was good news. Luna and Tomboy had agreed to be wed, though given the previous events that we've discussed in this visit, they hadn't broached that subject. And it was unknown if they would. But I do believe that is enough for today. I will speak with you again later, friends. Take care.